Does the microphone work? All right. It's 7 o'clock, everybody. Steve, shh, it's 7 o'clock. I had to figure out one of the people that was talking. That's what happens when you have another birthday. How old are you now, Steve? Holy smokes. You don't look a day over 90. Welcome, everybody. Couple of things to talk about before we turn over to our presentation. Idaho QSO Party. Anybody who wants to come join us, we will be at Wilson Creek Trailhead out on the other side of Marsing. Would that be the best description? Should be easy to find. It's actually a POTA park as well. Many of us are going to go out tomorrow night to start setting up. The contest runs from noon until 1 o'clock, only because the time changes in the middle of it, but it's still only 24 hours long. Should be a lot of fun. What else do I have for announcements? We will have a portable repeater set up out there that we would like everybody who can to test. 146.78 PL of 100. It's typically the valley-wide react repeater that's up on Wilderness Ridge, but that'll be turned off, and we're going to have our portable one we've been trying to test set up out there, and it should still have pretty good coverage of the valley. So anybody that gets bored, try out the repeater, and we'll be listening on it. Didn't I have another announcement that I needed? You're supposed to keep me in line, Steve, because I forget everything. Next month's meeting for what the topic will be, it will be some do-it-yourself antennas. Mr. John Post is going to come show us how he builds his J-pole antennas and some of his tricks, and he does an amazing job on these if you haven't seen them. I think that's all I can remember for. There's something else I'm supposed to announce, but I don't remember what it is. What? Yes, but I don't remember the date. April 3rd? What? April 3rd, we'll be testing in Emmett that afternoon. A gentleman over there is putting on a 2 or 3 week class for tech level, and we'll be testing for it. So we'll need help with VEs and. Okay, so it's not April 3rd. So is it April 5th? It's the first Saturday of April. More information on that will go out. That's all I can think of. We got a couple people who want to announce some stuff they got for sale, so everybody knows about it. We'll start with Joe.
Hello, everybody. If anybody has a new ham that we're looking for an HF rig, I have a TS450 SAT Kenwood with a power supply for $450. It's been gone through by Rob Neff, if anybody remembers who Rob is. But it's in it's in excellent condition with a 20 amp Astron power supply. So if anybody's looking to start a new ham up, this is a great radio to go because it has a tuner built in. And that's it.
Hi, my name is Byron Schmidt, W7RDF. I've acquired a lot of boat anchor gear, old Heathkit stuff, some Yaesu gear, and I have a lot of that I'm wanting to get rid of now. I bought it to refurbish it. I just don't have the time. But some of this gear is really nice. I have a complete SB104 line, if you're familiar with that one. So if you're interested in working on radios and putting them back on the air, the old boat anchor stuff, I've got some. Just let me know what your interests are, and I can probably set you up with something. I also have some server racks of various sizes that some are RF tight. If you do some testing or something like that you're interested in having an RF tight box, I've got those. I've got about 6 or 7 of them. I also have an open frame server rack if anybody's interested in that. So if you are interested at all in any of this equipment, you can just give me a call. You can look me up online, W7RDF, or 208-631-1958. Thanks for your attention.
And that's gone out on our YouTube channel, so there's more people that'll hear it. Okay, with that said, I'm going to turn everything over to Mr. John, who's going to explain lots of stuff about APRS. We have radios up here that people can play with if you don't have your own. So here you go.
Hello again. It's me again. So I'm back this time to talk a little bit about APRS, not position reporting. It's automated packet reporting system. It's based on the AX.25 packet protocol. So I've never done this on my tablet. Try it out. Okay. Mostly today we are focusing on messages, because everybody knows, hey, I can beacon my location and nobody cares. Am I not loud enough? Okay. I feel like I'm really loud and it bothers me. So focusing on messages, and I have a Kenwood TMD 710 in my Jeep. It does APRS built in. I love it. It's fantastic, but you can't find it. But these are some handhelds, because that is also just as useful, even though it's a lower power. What's handy with APRS is there are digipeaters which receive your signal, your packet, store it, and retransmit it in its entirety. So even if you're not strong enough to go very far, the digipeater will. And I'll tell you, I've had message conversations with people 300 miles away, bouncing off of a couple of digipeaters. Between here and Oregon, between here and North Utah, we get around. So here is a short list of some radios that I believe you can still purchase, because there's some old ones that you can't get, that do APRS built in. And as far as I can tell, the Yaesu models do not allow you external access to their TNC. The TNC is the terminal node controller. That's what takes your digital message and turns it into sound signals and back. So as far as I can tell, Yaesu doesn't let you get to that. The rest of them do, which means you can use an external device, because messaging on your little keypad is terrible, right? We did that with cell phones, and then nobody wanted that. So, yeah, anyway, kind of the star of the show tonight is the top one. Comes in 3 different branding, but it's the same radio. It's kind of a new radio, about $170, which is not bad for everything that it includes. The user interface is very different, though. It takes a little getting used to. So we have, anyway, a selection up here. I've got a Kenwood D72 up here. Nice old one. You can still sometimes find them. And then a couple of these Chinese ones that are focused. I mean, they were built with APRS and in Bluetooth in mind, so it's built in. And then there's Mobile Link, or Mobile Link D. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but that's a nice add-on. You can plug that into the audio ports of a lot of different radios, and it gives you that digital interface, a USB interface or a Bluetooth interface, so you can send and receive not just packet. I believe it does other modes as well, other digital modes. And last but not least, it is possible to just connect the audio, and this is where I started, was an audio cable from the microphone, earphone jack in my phone, when they used to have them, directly to the radio, and then the phone would do the decoding and encoding. So that's possible too. It's a little more finicky because now you've got to set your volume levels, you've got to, the software has to decode it. All right. So hopefully you brought something. If not, we're going to loan these out. All right. So what is KISS? Keep it simple, stupid. Yes. So with that, somebody originated this idea that there needs to be a standardized interface to talk to a TNC. And they came up with a protocol, and they called it KISS. What that does is it means you're not tied into a brand's software. There's a lot of things that can interface through a standardized communication protocol. So these are a few apps. Almost everything I do on mobile devices, tablets, phone, and it's all Android. I don't own any Apple stuff. Maybe some of you do. You'll convert maybe. But it lets us use third-party software. These are logos. Let's see. I know this one's WOAD, and that one is APRS.fi, runs on Apple. This one is another, Apple Mail, maybe? It's like WOAD for Android, but it runs on Apple. It lets you do WinLink email. And then the last one is APRSDroid. There'll be a quiz later. Got to remember all those. Just kidding. All right, so let's get into it. This was supposed to be hands-on. I didn't want to talk all night. So we're going to get into APRSDroid because that's the one I know. If you have it already installed on your phone, I believe in the Play Store it's like $5. However, it's my next one. Nope, one more. Okay. So APRSDroid's $5, and the APRS.fi for Apple, I don't know. They might have a charge for that. Probably about the same. However, if you have an Android, you can go to na7q.com because APRSDroid's an open source software. He forked the software, so he's got his own version, and he's made some improvements. He lets you do offline maps, lets you do digipeating and eye gating through your mobile device, and it's free. So if you don't want to pay $5 for the official released version, you can get the fork for free. So if you, let's pull them out. And if you don't have an Android device, I have a stack of tablets I will hand out. Who wants one? My APRS for Apple? Okay. Anybody want to borrow a device? These all have APRSDroid already installed. Anyone else? All right. I got a whole stack. Don't be shy, people. Yeah, this is your chance to get hands-on. Not with me, with the hardware. Yeah. Just got to be clear. And does anybody else need a radio? Radio back here. Do you have a preference? Okay, we'll give you one of the new fancy ones. All right, anyone else need a radio, hopefully with Bluetooth? Yes? Radio. I'll grab the next one in line. Now what's going to be fun is there are going to be so many Bluetooth devices in here. Anybody else? Kim wants something. Bring Kim a radio. I'll bring you. And a, yeah. Oh, you got your phone. Okay, everybody ready? Got a radio? Got a mobile device? I love that they always talk to you. Like, who wants that? Okay, I'm going to go. Nope. How do I go back? That's it. Okay, so if you're pulling up APRSDroid, how do I switch? Oop. This is approximately what it looks like. So my tablet is paired to a radio up here, so I've been listening to everything going on in here, and there's a lot of stuff happening. But if you go in, first thing you need to do is go to the menu, top right corner. Go to Preferences. Put in your call sign, and An SSID. Anybody want to tell me what the SSID is for? What it means? What's a good number? Sockets? That is another one, yeah, for Wi-Fi. So in this case, I don't know what the acronym stands for, but it's a way to allow a single operator to have multiple call signs, right? Because if it was just your call sign, you would get one device ever. This allows you up to, well, originally it was 15, but it can be extended. It like goes beyond the standard a little bit, and you'll see it a lot on modern software, but older radios only do 0 through 15. If I switch back, don't breathe in. All right, so you'll want to go in and set your call sign, set the SSID, and we'll get into the connection preferences. So here are the basic 15 SSIDs and suggested use cases. This is not required, but it is handy. So if you're driving around and you're like, oh look, it's KG7KMV-7, well, you know it's probably me on my HT versus nothing or a -0. Well, that's my home station. You probably don't want to message that one if I'm out driving around. I'm not going to get it. Messages generally are, and depends on the receiver, but generally messages go to the specific call sign and SSID that you send it to. That's the extended SSIDs. It can be character letters, right? That's the basic 15 that even the old implementations will support. Newer things will support any characters. All right, so next we're going to check out, wish I knew how to just like control tab. Connection preferences. So how do you connect APRSDroid to your radio? Bluetooth is going to be the really easy one, and this has been fantastic. So my particular radio, it's Bluetooth SSP or SPP, which is like serial port protocol. And I leave pretty much all the rest of the settings at default, but you do want to go to choose your device. So some of them you have to pair first, and some of them you just find it because your phone picked it up if it's BLE. So I do have a screenshot of how to go and pair on the VGC type radio. Where am I? All right, we'll get back to configuring the radio in just a second. It will ask you for your APRS passcode. Like what do I need a passcode for? Really, this is only when you're connecting to the APRS IS or Internet Service server, which APRSDroid can and will do. So it wants to know what that passcode is, and all it is a hash of your call sign. It's not some issued password. It's just been processed through a number generator. And there's several places online that you can get that if you need it. So normal frequency in North America is 144.390. That is not solid. You can do APRS on other frequencies. It just, if you want to talk to other people, generally that's where they're going to be. It's like 146.52. That's where you're going to find some people. Maybe, if you're in the valley. If you want to hit the International Space Station, they have a digipeater up there. And it's pretty cool. You can send a packet, sometimes using just a good antenna on an HT, and bounce it off the space station, and you hit a couple of states. Okay. When they fixed the APRS on the space station a couple of years ago, one of the gentlemen in this room was one of the first stations that were digipeated via the ISS, W7OSG setting there. Ooh, right on. I'm ignoring you. Yeah. So it is possible to use other frequencies. So maybe you're doing an event and you don't want to mix in with the general messaging of everybody else. You bring your own digipeater, you set it up, and you just want messages in your group. You can choose another frequency as long as everyone's set up on that same frequency. Okay, so if you're using the VR UV N76 Pro B Tech, pick a name, this is how you'd go in and turn it on for Bluetooth pairing. Does anybody need that? This is on the radio, yes. Yep. So yeah, everything I did was not using the radio app. That particular radio has a companion app that lets you set all of the settings in the radio on the app. Kind of neat, kind of weird. Takes some getting used to. I'm not used to it. So you enable the KISS, you go to your device, you go to your Bluetooth settings and you scan and you find your radio, you pair with it. Unpair first, because that radio was paired to a different device. You have to unpair that first. So if you scroll down on this down here, you should see some other line. Unpair that. And anybody still want a device? There's a few more radios up here. I'll give you this one. All right. Check that one. And so you will be, oh, the Bluetooth is already on. Oh, yeah, this is a different. All right, this one, when it comes up, you're going to see that call sign is its Bluetooth, is a Bluetooth name. It will be the call sign. All right. Okay. Now, who's got their mobile device paired? Who doesn't have their mobile device paired to their radio? Okay, still working on it? Everybody else good to go? You're in there, you're already sending messages?
It just says pairing not accepted when I try to add it here.
Which
It's
one
76.
you sure that's the right one?
That's what's listed on the side of the radio.
Yeah, there's a couple of them in the room though. There's at least 3 of those. Oh, he turned it off. So this will be blinking when it's in pairing mode. Available. So you think it's this one?
I was assuming it was. I could be wrong.
Somebody said it was 5.2.
Hey, now it's doing it. Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
Finally did it. Perfect.
All right. Great. Okay. So one of the really, really cool things about APRSDroid, the forked version, and this NV whatever radio, is it also accepts commands over the same channel. So you can tell APRSDroid to set the frequency on your radio, and you don't have to think about it. It's one of the new features, new functions of the software. All right. Everybody got APRSDroid configured with their call sign and whatever SSID you like. Okay. So everyone should be you have to, when you're ready, you got to hit start tracking. That turns it on, gets it all started, and send your position. Now, there could be an issue because it won't send your position until it gets a GPS lock. And in here, you may not get one. So one way around that is to manually set your location in APRSDroid and let it just send whatever position you put in there. I'm not real concerned about where you are tonight because I can see you. I know you're not coming for me. So a few bits of information about what you see on my screenshot here. This is one I took last month. Some stations have this extra number out here. There's a field in the APRS protocol where you can specify your frequency. And that's kind of neat. Hey, I know this repeater, there's actually 3 repeaters here. This repeater is on that frequency. What's more is the rest of the information is in the comment line of the message. So that's actually what's called an object, and it tells you information about a thing. And many hardware radios, anyhow, will have a tune button. So when you get an object that includes a frequency configuration, you push one button and it retunes your radio to their frequency. So if I drove into an area, didn't know anything about the repeaters there, but they had APRS objects, I would know what their repeaters are, and I can get there with a couple of button presses. Actually, I do have a screenshot of that. So this is my 710, and you see it shows there's a frequency, and if you go in and you drill into that object, you get the frequency here, and there's a tune. If I hit that button, it'll set my radio to the frequency of that repeater, or to another person. So if I'm driving around and I advertise that I'm on 5.2, it lets everybody know what frequency I'm listening to, not just my position. One thing to point out, this is the Hat Butte repeater, but it's not being transmitted by a radio at Hat Butte. It's being transmitted by my home station as an object coming from me. So the objects don't have to originate where they're located. They can be elsewhere as long as they get in the right physical RF area. And this guy, watch for him. He drives from Tacoma and Salt Lake like every week. I see him all the time, but he never answers. I message everybody as I'm driving around. I pull up the list, and I recognize a lot of call signs now, and I message everybody. It's usually greetings or hello there. I've got a few stored messages, right, so I don't have to type it in every time, but I just send them out. And sometimes I get responses, and that's really fun. Yeah, please. So it could be people don't want to message while they're driving. It could be that he wants somebody to know where he is. Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, and I would be questioning if that was legal because now it's commercial. Yeah, it does, I know. So there are some APRS devices. Here's one, for example. This is a tracker. All it does is have a GPS receiver and transmit its location. It does not have messaging capabilities. There's a battery in here. It's really cool. I love these things. Little 1-watt transmitter. It does have Bluetooth, and I can pair my device to it, and now I can send and receive messages. But this is pretty handy as a little tracking device. China. No, there's a fellow, a Chinese ham, and I've got 3 of his devices. This is a whole iGate and weather station repeater, digipeater, everything. You attach a radio to it, and it does all of the things. It has Bluetooth as well. And this is a little box. I think Kim's got one. This is a whole tracker, digipeater. It has a battery, so it runs on its own, but it connects also to a radio, and also with Bluetooth, so it enables you to send and receive messages over a KISS. Yes. Yeah. So Kim's got one here, plugged in with an audio interface to a Baofeng. That was kind of what got me into APRS, because you could not find APRS radios. I mean, the Kenwood, right, they're going for $700 for an HT, and that's kind of ridiculous to me. I got mine because somebody mislabeled it on eBay, and nobody knew it was there except me. So, for these things, oh, what is it? Kim, do you remember the guy's call sign? Yeah, you get it on AliExpress. This one is the X1C3. He's got an X1C5 that has a little screen on it that shows you what's going on. It's the newer upgraded version, and they're pretty cool. I've actually emailed him for some support. He's a nice guy. But yeah, he makes all of these. This one's the AVRT5. So there's a few different, but it's got the same basic hardware inside them. It's actually the same hardware that they ended up putting inside this radio. So the APRS portion of this, the same as this and this and this. All right, we got off track a little bit. That's okay. What is it going for? For the X1C3? Oh, the X1C5. That other one has the screen. Yeah. Right. Same for the same price, you can get the whole radio, right? So options are changing. The landscape's out there. All right. So messages. Let's get to sending some messages. Here's one that this is just a received message. If you tap on a station in your received list. Oh, where did I go? Nope. Anyhow, you tap on a station on your received list. It gives you the specific information filtered just to that station. Then the little arrow at the top, that is how you send that specific station a message. So you go in and you type in your message, just like messaging. And this one in particular, I actually sent to an internet service, WX bot. There are a handful of internet services that if you can reach an iGate, which is an internet gateway, a two-way. There are people that believe that APRS was only meant to get your data into the internet, and those people need to stop, because it needs to be two-way or your data never comes back out. And if you ask something from the internet and they can't get back to you, it's pointless. So I believe it needs to be self-sufficient on RF. Internet's a nice add-on. All right, so here they are. Here are a few things that you can, internet services. You can actually, there's this one's fun, this one's kind of new. You send a message to the call sign of mail, and you do an call sign that you want to receive the message, and then your message. And it will store it until it hears them come on, anywhere, because it's internet-based, right? So all APRS messages go to one internet broker, if you will, APRSIS. And there's a lot of interfaces that, anyway, services are listening for any message that goes through there. So you can send a message and it will store and forward. You got to make sure you watch A and B channels and that you have the right one selected, or just switch to single. I do that. WinLink. You can send messages to and from WinLink, the whole WinLink system. This is not using packet to communicate to a WinLink, what do they call it? Gateway? Yeah. No, this is going through APRS, translating on the internet over to WinLink. And there's a fun one. If you beacon with your status message, including, oh, I forget it, WLNK, if that's anywhere in your beacon just position or status message, WinLink services pick that up and say, you have a new message waiting. They'll tell you when you get a new message on your APRS device. So I've got one actually waiting for me, and I heard it when I was driving around. Oh, it just alerted me, hey, you've got a new message. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. You go to a new area. I want to know where the repeaters are. Send a message to repeat, list, or the call sign, and the number of repeaters you're interested in, and it will tell you the repeater call sign and their frequencies for where you are physically located, because when you beacon, it tells the system where you are. Same, there's similar ones for like WXBot, CQ server. If you've ever joined, and I've got some cards I'm going to hand out after this, cheat sheet cards, because I cannot remember these. You can send text messages. If you send to SMS, there used to be an older one, SMS GTE, that is disabled now. Problem with phone companies and spam messages. This one's a little bit different. You have to opt in first before you can send messages to that phone. But once you do, yes, you can send text messages from the mountains. AP spots, or AP spot. If you're into POTA, SOTA, Islands, they do a couple of other ones. But it's possible to spot yourself through those systems over an APRS message. This one's fun. If you do who is, so you send it to who-is, and then you put a call sign, it will return to you information from QRZ. Tells you who that person is. Or find, we'll tell you a little bit about an operator as well. Group messages. So APRSDroid does not support group messages, and I've already contacted the developers and put in a bug, or a feature request, I guess. I think it's a bug because it should. So basically, group messages, I can send a message instead of to a call sign. I send it to CQ. Everybody who is listening for the group CQ will get that message and pop it up on their screen or alert, or whatever the radio does to say you got a new message, which is really handy. So say you're in an event, right? Here's the tactical. You need to send a message to all of your operators at the event. You can do that with a group message. Send it once, everybody gets it. There are also bulletins. Not all radios support receiving that, but it's BLN 1, 2, 3, I think it goes up to 8, something like that. But you can post bulletins like severe storm warnings that just go out, and everybody who's got a radio capable will pop up a message that says, hey, there's a bulletin coming in. Okay, we're going to send some messages. If you've got everything pulled up, maybe you've already done it. Let's make sure everybody gets the opportunity to send a message to someone. So I'm going to switch my screen. All right. Looking at APRSDroid, get into it a little bit. There's a bunch of stations. And I got to do this backwards. So like I said, one of the other things is this icon here, the little clock icon. If you click on that, tap it, whatever, you get all of your messages. This is everything that is being decoded. There's a lot going on here. But if you look at it long and hard, you go cross-eyed. But you can see who it's from. You can see where it's going to. Somebody is digipeating. So the star, it means it was received and retransmitted. That star means it was a retransmit. It's a digipeat. So somebody's got a no call that's digipeating. Some radios are capable of doing that. APRSDroid's capable of doing that with the fork version. Yeah, you can kind of tell what's going on a little bit from, and this other code here is actually, it tells you what software you're using, what software, what radio type. I had a screenshot, but you can actually see if it's an object, if it's sent from a D710, or what kind of radio actually is there. It's kind of interesting so you can tell that, hey, this came from a tracking device. I know they don't do messages. I'm not even going to send them one. So there's a lot there. You can pull up the map. If you're using the stock version, it uses Google Maps, so you need an internet connection to get those maps. If you're using the forked APRSDroid, it uses eyeball. You can use Google Map if you put in your if you have a Google API key. Otherwise, switch it to OpenStreetMap. And I have not yet figured out how to use the offline maps. I've tried. I've got the map file. I have a couple of them. But whenever I select it, it either crashes or just doesn't see it. So I'm still working on that. But this is kind of nice. So say you're a station running net control, and you're using APRS to report maybe position of your event people, but also position of your operators at each station. They'll show up on the map where they are, and you can also I just tapped on the one icon, and it pulls up everything for that specific icon. Hey, we can send him a message specifically. All right, let's send a message to somebody. Who is in the room? I know you are. So here's all of your received, filtered specific just to this call sign. Let's send you a message. So it goes green, a light green, hard to see, but it transmitted it. And it's built in for retries, so it will transmit it, wait for a little bit. It's looking for an acknowledgement. Most of the time, and it's pretty standard, when you send a message to someone, that radio will automatically send back an acknowledgement, just an ACK. And when the sender gets that ACK, it'll stop. It says, okay, you got it, great. If not, it will retry, and it's configurable 5 to 7 times with a little bit of a back off, and keep trying. So now count is 2. This is configured for 7 retries. This is the second transmit, and it's just waiting, and he's not getting it. Or there's so much RF. So the other thing with packet, right, there's only one frequency. So if everybody's trying to transmit, you're going to have a collision. The part of the protocol is that it waits for quiet time. And when the carrier goes dead, then it will transmit. So you're still going to get collisions, especially when there's this many transmitters so close together. But hopefully it gets through. When it's successful, when it gets the acknowledgement, it will turn a darker green or lighter, a different color green. And that means to me that he got my message. and he's leaving me on red and not responding to me, and then I can get after him later. But he hasn't got it yet. So they just came up with this thing that does that in cell phone text messaging. It's only been around for a couple of years, but APRS did it before it was cool. Nobody got that. All right, so I'm gonna just chalk this up to say there's too much RF in here, or who is BJR? Brian, you got my message? Okay, I just didn't get your acknowledgement. Go ahead and send me something back. It should be from my call sign -5. Maybe. Yeah. Anyone who wants to. Okay. Oh, there it is. So he sent me a message back. He doesn't like me anymore. So that's what a message back and forth would look like between individual stations. Let's just have several of you send me a message. Send a message to Kilo Golf 7, Kilo Mike Victor -5. He did. No, because we're all inside here, I doubt it's bouncing off a digipeater. So yes, that did bounce off of Schaefer. So you can turn your power down. We're so close. You can be on 1/2 a watt and would be fine in here. We're all probably cooking with RF right now. So I'm not positive how it's going to work with me sharing the screen up here, but APRSDroid is set up like you would any other text messaging application. When I get a message, it should pop up a little like notification that says you got a new message. So it makes it extremely handy. I did go on a hike one time out to do a soda site, and I was beyond cell phone, but I was getting APRS. So I had my radio strapped to my backpack, and I paired my phone to it, and I was sending text messages back to my wife to let her know things were okay. I got a weather report because I saw clouds. I was way up high on a ridge. I could see clouds coming in. I was like, uh-oh, what is the weather report supposed to be right now? I could get that weather report. So that was handy. Yeah, there we are. AI7QG. I get that. All your packets belong to me. Yes. That's an old one. As far as memes go. Yep. Yep. So, all right. Any questions about APRS, APRSDroid, anything else here? They're absolutely right. They don't need this. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'll repeat your question. Your question is, how do you interest younger people who have everything on their cell phone? They can access absolutely everything and talk to absolutely anyone right there. How do you interest them in old stuff, but this isn't necessarily old. How do you get them interested? And that's a good question, because you're right. If it was only about accessing that information, your cell phone's perfect. It does it better, faster, and stronger. But this isn't your cell phone. And when cell service goes down or you can't pay for it anymore, they start crying. They Yeah, yep. So it is a hard sell because it depends what your focus is. If you're focused on sending a message to someone else, text message it. It's way better. But if you're interested in doing it in a way, and that's the hard part. Maybe they don't care, and you can't get them interested. But if they have an interest in off-grid, they have an interest in ISS, at least until it comes out of the sky. Yeah, Kim, what do you have any ideas? How do you get kids interested?
I've got two young kids and we do a lot of camping. My interest, I have two young kids and I do a lot of camping. I have zero interest in them having a cell phone for as long as possible. This allows them the freedom, just like times before where we could just ride a bike and just start down the block. This has the ability to give them access and has some sort of load jack on them to be riding around after the free bikes go out.
So to summarize, you go camping, and around here, you don't have to go very far before you lose cellular connectivity. You get down in a valley, you get away from the city at all, away from the interstate, there's no cell coverage. To that point, I actually was doing another SOTA summit. I strapped one of those tracking devices on the harness of my dog and let him off leash. And he was running around. He loved running. But I could keep track of him. I knew where he was because it went from there directly to my radio. I didn't even need the digipeater because we were so close. But keeping track of your kids. My kids love playing on radios. We take some FRS or GMRS radios camping, and they love it. They run around for an hour or two just talking on the radio, even if they're 10 feet apart. So that's something. You take away the cell phone, then it becomes interesting. Any other thoughts on getting kids interested? A lot of the kids now have to take programming and computer type classes. This is open source software. Maybe they want to look at the software. Maybe they want to develop it. Maybe they want a new feature that isn't there. You know, there's avenues in there. So something else that I have a whole other presentation on, which is using the same radio, different application, but it enables you to send WinLink email using Packet. So it's Packet WinLink, not through APRS, but to a Packet gateway. And I know that there are two running in the valley, 2-meter Packet gateways for WinLink. There's one. Oh, is there? Okay, then there's 3. There's one in southeast Boise. There's one kind of in Meridian. Kyle, that's Kyle's. He's running a nice, and I've used that before because I can't get to the other one. There are even Packet digipeaters running. If you can't directly get to them, you can bounce off of those. But that was actually another topic. I had it in here, but not enough time to cover that. So stay tuned. All right. Any other questions before I get away? I hope all of you were able to use this, learn something, and figure out how to send messages with APRS. Yes? Yeah, so with digital, with packet, so he said using a simplex repeater to repeat your packet. It is entirely possible to send packet through a standard 2-meter voice repeater. Nobody's going to like it, but it's not illegal, and it's possible. It works. So that is possible full duplex repeater. Or I don't know about a simplex might work because, yeah, I'm worried about the timing. So with APRS, it might work. Your message would get through, but the acknowledgement may come too fast, and it wouldn't switch over fast enough. A digipeater is very fast at the pick up and shut down. So, and a digipeater is super easy to set up. Half of these radios will do digipeating. You just turn it on. No, because the digipeater doesn't get the acknowledgement. It just sends it. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So War Eagle and Schaefer have digipeaters. Yep. Yeah, I bounce off of War Eagle, and that one goes quite a long way and links into several other digipeaters. All right, I got to stop because we're out of time. Thank you all.